Welcome to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy, wisdom, and healing, where we explore how energy shapes your life and how you can shift it to thrive in every area physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Each week, we'll dive into practical tools, real-world examples, and quantum energy perspectives to help you stay positive, navigate challenges, and reclaim your personal power. Whether you're dealing with stress, seeking balance, or curious about the energetic world around you, this is your space for insight, growth, and transformation.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Release Your Potential Now with Jane. I'm Jane Phillips, and I'm so glad you're here. Today's episode is When Life Gets Messy, Don't Let the Chaos Win. Embrace small shifts to keep you moving forward. If you've been riding the energy of the Lion's Gate over the past few weeks, setting powerful intentions, journaling, and tuning in, you may be wondering, now what? Today's episode is all about the next step. When life gets messy, and let's be honest, it always does, we often get knocked off course. Our intentions fade, our energy scatters, and we forget what we are working toward. It's kind of like New Year's resolutions are gone by January 15th if they're not kept on the radar. So maybe you're wondering, now what? Again, today's episode is all about that next step. When life gets messy, it always does, we often get knocked off course. Our intentions fade, our energy scatters, and we forget what we were working toward. But guess what? That doesn't mean you failed. It just means it's time to come back to center, regroup, and take a small intentional step forward. This episode is here to help you exactly do that. So, this is why staying clear matters even after the Lionsgate portal closes. So the Lionsgate portal stirs up energy, and it offered clarity to all of us and helped us name our desires. But those moments of insight are just the beginning. The real magic is staying aligned when life isn't smooth. So big energetic shifts can feel amazing. We've all had them. But staying grounded is the real challenge, because when we hit a high, when something really big shifts, then we have to come back down and start doing the work toward the next shift. So you don't have to stay high vibe all the time to receive the rewards of what you were journaling about. You just need to stay connected. You're not starting over. You're continuing, even if it's messy. So I've got more tips this time, again, of small shifts that can keep you moving. So I'd like to walk through a few small practices to help you stay grounded and moving forward, even when the day feels sideways. These aren't big, dramatic overhauls. They're gentle course corrections that bring you back to your center when life feels noisy, overwhelming, and off kilter. So one of the things that happens in the January resolutions is we don't keep track of what we made as a resolution, or we don't start any steps moving forward. So here's some ideas for you. Number one is to return to your why. Your intention from the Lion's Gate didn't disappear. It may have just gotten buried under everyday life. Pull it back into focus. Write it on a sticky note. I'm a big fan of sticky notes, so I'm going to segue a little bit with this one, with a story from the mortgage banking world that I was in that I mentioned last time. So I was a mortgage lender for close to 40 years, and about 30 years of it, I was a mortgage loan officer. So I was helping people get financing. I was on a commission only. There was no base salary. If I didn't perform, I got no income. And the other loan officers around me We're all in the same position. But for some reason, don't ask me why I knew this or created it. I started to work with sticky notes, which are those Post-it notes that 3M, I'm originally from Minnesota, so 3M is based there. So what I would do with my, I had some staff the last time I was in my last job, and we were working all over the country. And when we had a problem client, we would write that on a Post-it note and stick it up on our computers so we could look at it and say, we maybe didn't even write what the problem was. We said, this client is stuck. So that we want to get them in financing for their new home or the refinance, or we want them to get off the treadmill and it's not going to work, but we won't be stuck. And it would help. We would get things resolved. And a couple of different times at work, I had a friend who was newer to this mortgage financing business. And we would get our commissions cut if we didn't do enough business in the month. So we were already going to make less money because we didn't generate enough business. But then our commission would be lower on that lower amount of business. And my friend came to me, or she was sitting there fretting. It was the last day of the month. She said, if I don't have a $75,000 FHA, Federal Housing Administration government loan, taken today, they're going to cut my commission. And I said, oh, you need 75,000? So I said, get your Post-it note out, write it down, 75,000 FHA, stick it up there. And then I confidently, don't ask me why I could do this, I confidently walked away and said, well, it's done then. And she just looked at me. She came to me 2 hours later. Somebody had made a phone call into the office. She picked it up and she had an $80,000 FHA loan application coming in a few minutes. And she was just in shock. I said, see, it works. I had another friend who had a monthly goal of making like $850,000 and that wasn't his income. That was the amount of mortgages back then. So this is a long time ago, but this was in maybe 2001 or two, something like that. And he said, I'm not making my goal. And I said, well, just write it on a sticky note and stick it there and you're done. And I said, and if you don't make it, don't worry about it. You're not going to fret of how it's going to happen. You're just going to write it down. And I said, if you don't make your goal, you can always add the amount you didn't do this month and add it on to next month's. Well, he started consistently making his goal every single month. And so those are stories because it sort of doesn't make sense. But if you have a goal, put it on a sticky note and look at it. And you might get an idea of what to do, or you might not, but keep it in your awareness. You can record a voice memo repeating your goal back to yourself, but sticking a note or a goal somewhere where it's visible to you on your bathroom mirror or at work or on the lock screen on your phone is really crucial. You're being really clear to the universe, to God, that this is what you want. And it's going to allow you to get insights as to what to do about it. And also you'll have some serendipity stuff, like my girlfriend who took a phone call that allowed her to meet her goal. So a clear goal doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be visible. And that is probably my number one thing is having a clear, visible goal. Now, number two is what we've talked about before, is grounding your body and your mind. So stay present. One of the things that I've shared before is that because I'm a psychic medium, I'm often talking to energies that are unseen. And a lot of times I'm not totally in my body, which does create some mishaps, some trips every once in a while. But staying within your physical body and using grounding techniques, feet on the ground, grounding mats, as I mentioned before, And then breathing, doing belly breathing. I put my hand here and on my belly and breathe into my lower belly, or you can breathe into your heart. This is going to calm your system down so you're getting better information about what to do. So you can touch something earthy, you can a plant or hug a tree, you can light a candle, settle your body down, and your nervous system follows. And now you're going to get more information about what to do and get more clarity. Clarity doesn't come from chasing thoughts. It comes from settling into your system. And then take a little action. It's called a micro action. It can be really small. When you're overwhelmed, your brain wants to shut down. You've got cortisol going, it's stress, all the dopamine and serotonin that allows you creativity and, oh, I could do this, is not available for you. So you need to calm your system down in order for those other chemicals to show up to support you. So choose the tiniest step you can take that still honors your direction. It might be sending one email, or drinking a glass of water, or stretching for 1 minute, or writing one sentence in your journal. The goal isn't to finish everything. It's to show your nervous system that you're not stuck. So progress is built from micro movements, not massive leaps. And as we've talked about before, it's important to disconnect to reconnect. So we're surrounded nowadays. There's so much information available to us all the time. Not all of it is accurate, and it's interfering. So we're surrounded by noise. News alerts, group texts, social media, podcasts, even helpful content can become overstimulation. So give yourself permission to unplug, even for 5 minutes. Step outside without your phone, close your eyes, listen to your breath. Your energy needs white space in order to process and reset. So your inner wisdom doesn't compete with distractions. It waits for silence. And also, number 5 is to celebrate that you actually noticed the chaos. The moment you recognize that you're off course is actually a win. It means you're aware, awake, and able to make a different choice. The awareness is everything. Instead of spiraling into guilt or blame, simply say, oh, this is going to be my reset point. And then figure out what to do about that and start again. Noticing you're off track isn't failure, it's guidance. So when life throws you a curveball, is we want to talk about next. Life doesn't wait for us to be perfectly aligned. It would be lovely if it did, but it doesn't. It throws us detours, surprises, and flat out chaos. 1 minute you're clear on your path, and the next you're dealing with car trouble, a sick family member, a tech meltdown, or just an overwhelming emotional fog. I was trying to work on these podcasts this week, and for the last 4 days, I was not able to figure out what to tell you today. It was not working. And all of a sudden, the day got clear, whatever was blocking me, cleared up, and I was able to sit down and figure out what to tell you today. So here's the good news. Moments like these don't undo your growth. They offer a new chance to apply it. And I've learned over time that when I can't do something, I can't do it. I have to do something else. And it might be take a nap. It might be to take a walk, sit outside and stare at the birds, even though I've got something pressing in the back of my head. But when I do that is when I can regroup. So what can you do in these moments when you're stuck like this? Just pause and check in. If you're feeling like reacting, I had a situation with a client that pushed all my buttons, and I don't get my buttons pushed in reacting much. In this particular case, I almost sent an email out that I shouldn't send. It was typed, actually. But I paused and I said, I need to take a break. I need to not send this email. I stopped. I sat outside. I took a breath and said, what's really happening here? And I didn't really know, but I knew that I should not send an accusatory email. So, what do I need in this moment? Is what I asked. And what's really happening? And sometimes it's support. Giving yourself that moment of pause changes everything. I re-chose my intention. I had a protocol that I did that I put her into. And I said, I choose to stay connected to my peace. I choose to move forward with calm. This is about commitment, not perfection. And I gave myself permission to wait. And the next day, she resolved the issue herself. I didn't have to say anything. I'd already explained why I did what I did with her before, in a calm way, and she was able to take that message and finally understand it. So curveballs don't cancel your growth, they confirm it. And feeling off doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means it's time to pause and recenter. Sometimes it means you have to take a break. And what can you do for your best and highest good today? You're not behind. I was feeling behind with my podcasts here. You're not broken. You're simply human. And responding to life with intention is a huge win. So, all right, as you head back into your week, remember, you don't need to do everything. You just need to stay with it, reconnect to your why, take a small step, a micro step, and trust that forward is forward, even when it's slow. And if today's episode helped you feel a little more steady, I'd love to hear about it. Reach out to me on social media or leave a review. Your voice matters. And next week, we're going to wrap it all up for the month and how to talk about and clear emotional clutter and that keeps from blocking your progress. So until then, take a moment to breathe, take some time, take a beat, and take care of you. I'll see you next week. I'm Jane Phillips. Thank you.
You've been listening to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy wisdom and healing. Tune in on Transformation Talk Radio to unlock the power of energy healing and transform your life one insight at a time. Share this episode with a friend who's feeling stuck and might benefit from a little extra support on their journey. Together, we can create a ripple effect of healing and positivity, empowering individuals to live healthier, more joyful lives. Are you ready to gain control of your life and health? Then visit janecphillips.com to book a session, join a workshop, or explore how energy wisdom can help you heal and thrive.